Runescape has changed much in the 20 years since its initial release. Many of us long for that magical experience it provided when we first started playing. My quest is to recreate that experience by playing a time-locked Ironman. In order to progress forward in time, I'll have to experience all of the content as it is released on a month-to-month basis. My name is Kuda Bear, and welcome to Time Traveller Ironman. In April of its first year, Runescape started to see some explosive growth. Players often could not log in as the servers were nearly almost always at capacity. The Gowers were adapting quickly to the success of their Java browser game, creating tooling, website features, and everything else that could be required to ensure the success of the budding MMORPG. However, it wasn't long before players had experienced all of the content the game had to offer and were requesting more. The Gowers delivered by nearly doubling the size of the playable map. Contained within the region of Asgarnia were the towns of Port Sarim and Rimington, as well as the massive White Knight city of Falador. Other locations added included the Chaos Temple, the Dwarven Mines, and the Asgarnian Ice Dungeon. Within the dungeon was one of the highest level mobs yet, the Ice Giant. I'll have to defeat these until I obtain the best new shield from monsters, the Mithril Square Shield. Also added with the new region was a whopping 4 new quests. These were the Knight's Sword, Doric's Quest, Witch's Potion, and Black Knight's Fortress. I'll need to complete all of these to proceed forward in time. Now, journey with me as I venture forth into Asgarnia and April 2001. Alright, welcome back to another episode of Time Before the Time Traveling Ironman. It is now April of 2001, and April contained probably the biggest content expansion so far that the game had seen. That, of course, being given away by where I'm standing, is the White Knight city of Falador, as well as pretty much the entirety of Asgarnia. Asgarnia would be expanded upon later, however, the vast majority of it is released. As with last month, I think we're going to get it started by doing the quests that were released at this month. Again, I have all of the skill requirements, so I don't really see a reason to hold off. There are 4 to do, so let's go ahead and get started. And our journey begins here within the Dwarven Mines. This mine is actually going to be pretty useful for me, as I believe it is slightly shorter to do my mining and smithing here in Falador than it is for me to do it between Varrock and Lumbridge as I was before. There is a furnace upstairs in the city, and there are anvils down here in the mines. I think it'll just be a little bit faster. However, for right now, I am here to collect a few ores for Doric's Quest. Doric's Quest was an easy fetch quest that was introduced early on in RuneScape's history that really wasn't replicated in future quests. Probably for good reason, because it's another quest where you just gather some items, turn them in, and get your reward. Not the most interesting. And I have a problem. I don't have a pickaxe, and the pickaxe shop wasn't released till 2003, so I have to try to locate one without going all the way back to Lumbridge. That would be terrible. Oh, thank goodness. Drogo's Mining Emporium existed with the release of the Dwarven Mines, so I could get a pickaxe from him. So, one mistake I made in the last episode that you probably noticed is that the Black Square Shield does not exist until December of 2001. I had checked the Moss Giant's drop table on the Ars Classic Wiki, assuming that this existed and that drop table hadn't changed, but it did, and that shield was added later. So unfortunately, I will not be able to hold on to it, though it will be later this month that I will be obtaining a Mithril Square Shield, which did exist, so not a huge downside. Alright, Doric needs 2 iron ores, 4 copper, and 6 clay. I got the extra iron for the quest that we will be doing after this, but really not a bad ask, honestly. It didn't take very long at all, and it's kind of nice. The reward from this quest is actually to smith at the anvils here, which I actually might take advantage of. It might be a little closer, depending on what I'm doing, to come here than to use the ones in the Dwarven Mine. But 1300 mining experience and 180 coins is really nice. So that is quest complete. Also, I noticed he gave me a pickaxe, so if I didn't find that one in that other shop, that would have been useful. So next up is actually the Knight's Sword. This squire here actually lost his Knight's Sword, and he needs another one, but he has no idea where it went. So we're actually going to go ahead and craft one. And in order to do that, we have to find a particularly skilled dwarf who lives somewhere in the area. Thankfully, Reldo, the librarian we remember talking to from the Shield of Aravf quest, has a hunch as to where we might be able to find one of these craft dwarves. The only thing he gives us as a tip is that they really like red berry pie, so we're going to go ahead and prepare one before we head down. And a quick stop off in the Lumbridge kitchen here to go ahead and make the pie. Grab some extra ingredients just in case it burns, though the cooking grind should, allow it to cook on the first try. So we find the Imkando crafting dwarf here on the very southernmost point of Asgarnia, right on the ocean here. And we just give him the red berry pie we cooked to befriend him, and he's willing to help us craft the sword. I think it's time for a little bit of a change. Just south of Falador here, there's a couple highwaymen. They drop us a black cape, and that's our first cape. Technically there was a cape available from the clothes shop in Varrock I probably should have bought, and I just never did, but looking swanky. So the dwarf needs some reference material in order to know how to craft the sword. So I'm just going to sneak into the bedroom here of Survivin and search his cupboard for a picture of him holding the sword. Fun fact, in Ars Classic, even if Survivin was on the other side of this wall like he was just here, someone would need to chat with him in order to search that cupboard. So this was effectively a two-person quest. And I remember right before Ars Classic closed, there were a number of people who were making videos on it and were unable to complete the quest because they couldn't find anyone to help them by chatting with the knight to get the portrait. Talking to the dwarf and giving him a look at the portrait here, he lets us know that he will be able to craft the sword with 2 bits of iron and a piece of blurite ore, which I can mine under the dungeon here in Asgarnia. This dungeon isn't all that useful, at least this early on in the game mode. I will be back to kill the ice giants down here, but other than that, it's just the blurite ore that I need. Just turning in the materials to Thurgo here to get the knight's sword replica. And talking to the squire to turn in the sword gives us the reward, which is a lot of smithing experience, 12,725. That is by far the most experience rewarded from a quest so far. So with that level, it allows us to go all the way up to steel chain bodies, almost steel kite shields, so that'll be really nice to have for making money. It's always funny to me to complete that quest so late into a smithing grind. Like, I've already spent probably about 30 hours smithing stuff. So this food shop was actually released at the beginning of this month, and it's handy because I'll need some raw beef for the next quest. I also noticed they have pots of flour and red berries here, so if I wanted to make red berry pies and I'm in the area, that would be a pretty good place to do so. So the next quest is Witch's Potion. Basically, here in the city of Roomington, there is a witch. I think her name is Betty? No, Hetty, actually. And she wants to help me get in touch with my darker side by brewing a potion that I can drink and give me a little bit of magic experience. And to do that, I just need to bring her some ingredients. Firstly, I'll just need a rat tail, which I can get by killing any old rat, which is apparently the hardest fight of my life. There we go. Finally. There's the rat's tail. Then I need a piece of burnt meat, which I can get by actually intentionally cooking and then burning this meat on the range here next door. And then lastly, I just need to purchase a single eye of newt from Hetty's sister Betty. I guess it's her sister, I don't know. Then I just return to Hetty with all 4 ingredients, and she will brew me the potion to help me get in touch with my darker side. So I can just drink from the cauldron here. And a whopping 325 magic experience. Not the most, but hey, it's something. I'll take it. Alright, just one quest left for the month of April, and that is the Black Knight's Fortress. Another spy quest. We're going to infiltrate an evil knight's fortress, I guess, and try to spoil their plans. So talking to Ceramic Vars, get it? Ceramic Vase? Ha! He gives us the mission to go and infiltrate the fortress. Though he does it through a little bit of an interesting method, giving us an affidavit. And when we read that, I guess it's a dossier, not affidavit, it self-destructs in our hands right in front of his face. Maybe I shouldn't have read it there. So we've made our way up to the Black Knight's Fortress, which is at the very northern end of Asgarnia. And I can actually equip this iron chain body and bronze medium helmet that I brought in order to gain secret access to the hidden fortress, because now I'm dressed like a guard, though for some reason the knights still attack me. Bit of a maze, but I eventually make my way to this grill in the wall here where I'm able to listen into the secret plans. And it turns out that they've been working on an immortality potion, and the secret key ingredient they're waiting for is a magical cabbage from the Draenor Manor. So I just happen to have a regular old cabbage from not the Draenor Manor, and I'm going to be sabotaging it by adding that to the cauldron. Thankfully, there's a conveniently placed vent right over the top of the cauldron, so all I have to do is toss this cabbage down that hole, and that'll be their plans foiled. And it's gonna go kablooey. Or not. But now I can go turn in the quest. Alright, going ahead and turning in the quest to Ceramic Vase here. And that's it. 3 quest points. And a whopping 2,500 coins, which is an impressive amount of coins. Fun trivia fact, actually. This quest has a 10 quest point requirement on it. And that's actually because of the fact that people used to make suicide bots and just do this quest for that GP reward. Goes to show you just how much that value of GP has changed since the days of early Classic. So that actually concludes the quests for April. Unfortunately, it still leaves us 3 quest points short of access to the Champions Guild, so I will not be able to access the Adamant Plate Body that's waiting for me there just yet. There is, however, still one more thing for us to do here in April, and that's to go slay some Ice Giants and upgrade to a Mithril Square Shield. So I'm going to want to do that with magic. However, I am once again poor, so I need to earn a little bit more money for magic, which you know what that means. Time to do some more mining and smithing. But at least we'll have a nice change of scenery, because I'm going to try to use the Dwarven Mines instead of the Varrock method I was doing before. Once again, I'll be selling the Adamant Sword temporarily. It's a bit of a hit to sell it to the general store. It cost me more like 1,200 coins to sell it and buy it back this way, but at least I don't have to trek all the way back to Varrock. Okay, so remember the massive trek that each trip of smithing was back in the months of January, February, and March? Well, this is still pretty bad, but honestly, it's a little bit better. All I need to do is start in the Dwarven Mine. There is coal and iron rocks immediately underneath the staircase here. Then I will trek all the way over to the furnace in the courtyard of Falador, over to the general store to grab a hammer, up to Doric's anvil to craft some shields, and then over to Cassidy's shield shop to sell them, and then repeat. So it shouldn't be too bad. One thing I want to call out is that the mining guild actually didn't exist until August, so I don't need to get 16 mining this month, thankfully. However, I still will be needing to do it with a bronze pickaxe later this year. Alright, last little bit of steel kite shields here. I did get the smithing level to create these. Before that I was just making steel chain bodies and selling them to the chain body shop. It's really not too bad. It's probably around 6k GP an hour, and the experience is pretty slow, but it's not terribly slow. Up to 43 smithing and 48 mining just from that little grind. And this should be hopefully enough money to get a water strike cast for the Ice Giant grind. So unfortunately, I probably should have done a little bit more money grinding before I bought these runes. I actually can't kill all that many Ice Giants with these. If we average out the damage per water strike to be about 1.5, because the max hit is 4 and the min hit is 0, it's going to take around 46 successful water strikes to kill one Ice Giant. If you include some splashes, it's probably a little bit over 50 or around 50. So I realistically am only going to be able to kill 70 Ice Giants with this number of runes, even though it seems like a lot of runes. And it's a 1 out of 128 drop. So unless I get lucky, I will definitely be going back for at least this many more casts. One cool thing is Betty actually sells blue wizard hats and black wizard hats. So I don't need to kill imps for this anymore. I can pick one up anytime I want. So herein lies a small problem. The Ice Warriors are more numerous in here than the Ice Giants. They're also super aggressive, and they also didn't exist till next month. So even if I wanted to kill them, I couldn't. But honestly, I don't want to. I want to be able to safe spot the Ice Giants. So what I'm going to do is take advantage of the NPC aggression timer and stand here for 10 minutes, and then they should hopefully ignore me. Alright, actually just killed one and forgot to record it, but I finally got the aggression timer down. I think this cave is split into 2 aggression regions, and you actually have to be at the back to use this safe spot, otherwise the Ice Warriors will still come after you. Well, there's an unwelcome sight, a long bone. That won't be released for a long time. Alright, so I did finish up all of the Water Strike casts. I did most of them on mobile. However, I did not receive the Mithril Square Shield, unfortunately. I did actually receive 2 Mithril Maces, which are 1 in 128, just like the shield. I also received 2 Black Kite Shields, which are more common, but still a little painful because it's the wrong shield. But unfortunately, not what I was looking for. I did get up to a whopping 43 magic though, which is really nice, and I got some decent drops to at least pay for a few more runes. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and sell all of my loot here, and then go ahead and earn some more money so that I can buy some more runes and repeat the process. I'll probably shoot to do another 3,500 casts. That feels like a good amount. I wound up being able to kill around about 80 ice giants. Of course, I will be selling the staff again to make sure I have maximum inventory space to do mining and smithing most efficiently again. And most notably, the mithril maces sell for a massive 350 coins each, so that's pretty nice. That actually pushes me over 10k again, which is pretty cool because that's enough to buy around 1,000 casts just from the loot I got from the ice giants as refund. But now I need to do a lot more smithing and mining. Oh, and just to address any concerns about potentially meleeing the ice giants, with my current restrictions and armor, I actually get destroyed by them. I did briefly try to melee them while I was there, and even just to kill one, I had to use food, and it was really bad. So magic is really going to be the only way to try to get this shield without doing some extensive melee training. So unironically, this is like the 5th or 6th person I've encountered down here just mining coal and iron like me. It's great to see that people still experience the game in this way that you would have experienced like 19 years ago. Oh, that's wonderful. Alright, there's 50 mining. Not really a notable level, except for the fact that now I am halfway to 99. Yeah, I know, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's enough mining and smithing for now. As you can see, I went above and beyond a little bit the money that I needed just for the runes I'm going to buy, and that was because I wanted to come here and buy an adamant chain body. Now, if I was technically playing in that time period, I would have already had the adamant plate body, which I've got the money for in the bank, but because I don't have access to the chain body, I figured it was worth picking up. Because if you wouldn't have had access to the Champions Guild, you would have probably bought this as your best in slot body armor. The Ice Warriors and Ice Giants in the dungeon are really brutal too, so even that little bit of extra defense bonus will help. I am just having such a blast meeting people playing this way. This guy asked me what the symbol next to my name meant. This is so cool. We're just walking around Barak. He's joining me on my journey to buy all the equipment I need. I'm going to go ahead and resell the mithril plate body here, which I realize is a little sad. This has been with us since January 1st, or not January 1st, January 31st, the end of the first month, but a good little bit of money from that. And I got my runes now, so just need to make some food and head down to the dungeon to kill more ice giants. My friend followed me all the way to the dungeon. It's so kind. So I got these iron plate legs, and I was like, oh, that's unassuming. Turns out these are also 1 in 128, so I've gotten both 1 in 128 drops other than the one I want. There are literally so many people that have come here to do, I guess, Ice Warrior or I guess Ice Giant Slayer tasks. And they're just rocking. I think Adamant Scimitar and Graceful, yeah. Alright, there it is. The Mithril Square Shield. Honestly, that wasn't too bad. I still have about 800 casts left. So I'm going to go ahead and stay here until I wrap up all these casts. Can't leave before we at least get to see one more champion coming in with the Rune 2H. I love it. So that actually concludes the month of April 2001. Even though the size of the map doubled this month, there actually wasn't really that much content. 4 quests didn't take very long to complete, and grinding out the Mithril Square Shield was fairly difficult, but only because I went a little dry on it. And of course, grabbing our age from Hans here, we're up to about 60 hours of playtime. So that means that this month actually took 25 hours to complete, which is about as long as January took. And I think that's largely, again, because I went dry on the Mithril Square Shield. That said, the grinds that we have had so far are nothing compared to what we have for next month. There are 3 massive grinds coming up that I am super excited for. So let's go ahead and let's get going. We'll see you next time on Time Traveller Ironman.